in throughout the session. I have got some mails for some people who have college going on till 6 and will be going back to their screens later on. So they might be joining us later on around 7 p.m. There is a whole lot of schedule. You might have seen the schedule on the website, and we will see. There's a presentation which I will take you through. This is the opening ceremony, so there are certain things which I'll take you through one by one, and this will lay down what will go on for the next 48 hours. So this hackathon is for 48 hours. It starts right now 6 p.m. on this Friday, and this will end on the Sunday 6 p.m. again. So you might have seen the schedule, but there is an opening ceremony, and right now we'll talk about the hackathon. We'll talk about the different challenges. So this is the first time we'll be going into these challenges in slight detail. I'll be explaining you the challenges in brief from a top-down manner, and certain resources will also be explained. So NASA has been generous enough to give you certain resources which you can use in your projects. You can use resources are of different types. So these are data sets, or there are certain visualizers, or maybe some images which you can analyze. So different kinds of NASA resources are given, and we will take you through these resources so that you can use these in your project. We'll also take you through some rules and regulations and certain technical examples which will help you on breaking down your problem statement into smaller research questions and then addressing those research questions with the product. And that's what you will be presenting in this hackathon. Okay, so let the hackathon begin then. Just to tell you, Space Apps is led by NASA. It's in collaboration with these companies Booz Allen Hamilton, MindGrub, and Second Muse. We have some global partners ranging from the Australian Space Agency to the Brazilian agency, Canadian Space Agency, ESA, which is our own European Space Agency. We have JAXA on board as well. And then we have SANSA, NSSA, these are the South African and the Paraguayan space agencies. So all of them have given us various different kinds of problem statements or challenges, and they've also given us access to their data, their valuable resources, and it's very easy to access these resources. So they have given the theme, and University of Limerick. Many of you are from University of Limerick, and University of Limerick is the host institution. Department of Computer Science and Information Systems is organizing this hackathon, and Limerick Institute of Technology is our academic partner on this mission. So the mission is to spread open source technology development. It's a free for all event where anyone can take part. Okay, so what is the schedule? What are we going to do for the next 3 days? What is going to go on? There might be many questions which everyone might be having. So this whole hackathon is divided into 3 days. Day one is today, where we have certain sessions and we break off from those sessions. So we have the first session which is going on right now. We call it Hack 101. What is Hack 101? Hack 101 is nothing but explaining the hackathon. There'll be something called a pitch 101, which you'll encounter in a bit, but that will be followed by something called as a pitch fest. So now what is a pitch fest? So what is the difference between a regular competition and a hackathon? A regular competition is maybe you have some problem statements, you break down those problem statements, you make a product, you sell that product, right? It's a regular competition. But what a hackathon is meeting people of different kind, collaborating on in terms of team building and in terms of productive projects. Like you can make productive projects, you can make innovative solutions, something disruptive. And when you make something disruptive, how do you do that? You have a lot of brains getting applied onto a specific problem. You do a lot of brainstorming. 10 types of perceptions come together, and then you have some sort of an ideology that, okay, this is something which we could do. So a pitch fest would help you in communicating your own approach to the audience. So we will give you a chance. I will explain you what a pitch fest is. I think some people are joining in late. So I hope everyone can catch up. I will go through the schedule slowly again. But yeah, some people are joining us late. I hope they can catch up with their own teammates or different kinds of people. So when we have pitches and we have the ice breaking sessions, you will be given a chance where you'll be getting into rooms, different kind of rooms with the various participants who are taking part in this Limerick location, and you'll be given time to talk to them, maybe 2 minutes, a very quick session, a speed session in which you break down your problem statements or maybe share your skills. So if someone is a designer or someone is a coder, you can tell that in an ice breaking session. So we'll have certain networking sessions for you planned, and if you go through them, you'll definitely find a good teammate to work on if you're lacking a teammate. And if you already have some project, you might discuss your own project or your own ideas with people to get some feedback, just so you have multiple brains working on that idea. So that's all about day one, and this is all about networking. So this is where a hackathon is different than a competition. You are doing a lot of networking on day one. So when you're doing a lot of networking, why do you do that? You do that to form a good team. Once you have a good team, you'll directly get to work. You start hackathon by 9 p.m. We'll not push the session more than 9 p.m. Maybe we'll just try to get done early as well. But what we want to achieve by the end of day one is everyone should have teams. Everyone should have all the teams sorted, and they should have all the resources sorted. Everyone should also know what challenges they're working on and what sort of approach they're going to take. So there's going to be a lot of things, and let's start with specific rules. So some specific rules which we want to go through with you, everyone. The first rule is that the maximum people in one team is six, and the minimum is one. It is obviously not recommended for a single person to go into a team, because Space Apps is all about collaboration. It's all about networking, and to be honest with you, if you have a team and you're looking for teammates, you can get teammates outside the Limerick location. There is a chat portal which we will be visiting very soon. We will talk about a chat portal very soon, and that chat portal could be used to find a teammate across the globe. So you can have a teammate anywhere joining in anywhere from the world, and you can work with them on it on a specific project. So you can have any kind of team ranging from the number 1 to number 6, and that's the first rule. The second rule is that the hackathon will be strictly for 48 hours. And this means the whole hackathon is for 48 hours. It is not just that you will be getting 48 hours to code something or 48 hours to create a solution to a problem. The 48 hours is for the whole duration of the hackathon, and it ranges from 1st of October 6 p.m., which is 9 minutes back we started, and it will go on till 6 p.m. of Sunday, which is day after tomorrow. So this is the duration of the hackathon. You can check the schedule for timings. We have a website which is spaceappsireland.com. You can go onto that website and check our schedule. We'll be changing the schedule. If there are some changes in the schedule, you'll get to know over there. And that's the live schedule which you need to follow. The third thing is you can work on your project until the final presentation till 3 p.m. So there is a time given to you, that's 3 p.m. on the Sunday, and that's the last time. Till that time, you can work on your projects. But definitely there are times, like there is a detailed schedule which will be provided to you, and that detailed schedule will have different several different times. You'll also be able to see those times on your own on the website when you log in. So when you log in, you can see that certain times are remaining, and we'll go through that in a bit. But what I want to tell you is that you'll have time till 3 p.m. of Sunday for any sort of presentation. Okay. So what else? All submissions should be original. You would know that, obviously. It is NASA's 11th year of the competition, and the way it is going is that it's an open source competition. You do whatever you do, you publish that open source. You make it for free. You make it accessible to the public for free. And when you make it accessible to the public for free, it is not just for visibility. You need to start a community. You need to contribute for developers. You need to ask more people to reuse your work. So when you do all of that, you need to make sure that your work is original. And if you by chance the three teams who are winning this competition, they'll be given a chance for a global nomination process, and I will talk about it again in detail in the next slides. But they will be evaluated by NASA. So the originality is something which is very important, and all submissions should be original. The last few points is that okay, if you have some reusability, you provide certain references, but and in the end, that pitches that you will have a pitch session, and that's a 45-second limit. We'll be going in detail about the pitches in a while, but that's in brief. So, what sort of challenges are there for NASA Space Apps 2021? NASA Space Apps 2021 has 28 challenges. There are 27 defined challenges, and the last one you see over there is create your own, the 28th one. So if there is anyone who's creative who wants to submit anything open-ended, anything related to space or earth science or even the NASA open data, any of the domains which are related to the mission, you can contribute and you can make your own project and submit it with the create your own entry. But one thing to note over here is whoever submits a creator own entry, they can win on a local level, location level, on the Limerick level. They won't be submitting a project for the global nomination because the global nomination is only for the 27 challenges. These 27 challenges are divided into different categories. These are some of the categories: data science, AI, ML, software development, mechanics, so mechanical development, game design, or basically multimedia. There are certain challenges specifically on teaching or policy making, strategization, some specific challenges on health science, and definitely that there are some very open-ended challenges which are artistic, which have nothing to do with coding at all. So anyone can take part, and it is very diverse. So these are the 28 challenges divided into some categories. Okay, software development challenges. Let's start each category. Let's take a category and let's go through each challenge in a very small duration, in a very brief. So we have software development challenges. I think we have 5 or 6 challenges. Let's start with the first one, which is GUI for material science. And now, what is GUI for material science? What is a GUI? A GUI in software development language, it's graphical user interface, right? And what is material science? Material science is everything to do with chemistry. It is everything to do with chemistry of a material and how materials are made. So if you read the first line, it says explore different open source tools that design novel alloys. That means you are having a GUI, you are creating an application which is helping you to design alloys. What are alloys? Alloys are mixtures of metals. So you can, like, this is in brief what this challenge means. And there are many resources given to you, and you can check these resources out. They're given to you by NASA and maybe some of the space agency partners which are there. So you can this challenge, in this specific challenge, someone has to create a GUI to ease the use of a collaborative software or an open source tool which can design a novel alloy. And a novel alloy is something imaginary. So you might have just some chemical reactions that your software might know some chemical reactions, and you will just be creating alloys and doing some mix match of metals to create some novel alloys. And you need to provide a GUI for that. So that's one of the challenges. We have more challenges which are software development related for any of you who are into software development. There's one challenge which is mapping space trash in real time. So this is around developing an open source geospatial application that displays and locates every known debris object orbiting Earth in real time. That's what it means. And how would you do that? You have many resources again given to you by NASA. NASA has a lot of resources. If you open up these links, or if you open up the links provided to you by our team, you can check out. I'll be showing you certain places where you can check out these links. But in a sense, like in a simple language, just go to spaceappschallenge.org, the website you used to register this event. Go to challenges, check out the challenges. Each challenge has a location, a resource page. So each challenge has a resource page. You can check out different kinds of resources. If you need any help with any kind of resource, we have a technical team. You can hit us up anytime, and you can get assistance on any sort of issues you're stuck in. And we can also help you get some secondary resources for your challenge, or maybe give some feedback or some mentorship to you. So feel free to write to us anytime. That's something which I will be telling you throughout this presentation. The third part over here, the third software development challenge which is given to you by NASA is to develop a mobile application to access NASA's prediction worldwide renewable energy resources. So there's a power web service portal. So anyone who's interested in website scraping or web scraping or mining, anyone who's interested in anything of that sort, you can develop this application. You can think about how to develop an application to access this information on the NASA's portal, and you can how to extract certain insights, how you can take out certain insights from them, and again certain resources are given. Then what else? You have some other software development challenges. Like this was a very interesting one. I found it really interesting. Lunar surface operations. So it is all about real-time collaborations. Like you might be aware about collaborative softwares these days. After COVID has hit, everyone is using collaborative softwares. So collaborative softwares are nothing where multiple people can work together and maybe work on a shared resource together. So those shared resources are generally whiteboards or common meeting links or common meeting rooms, or maybe something like a Kanban board or Trello where companies can come together and work. So this specific challenge is specifically designed to create an application to allow NASA flight controllers and the broader scientific community to collaborate on the lunar mission as it is collected. That means there is some sort of a lunar mission data collection going on. So lunar mission is going on. That means some astronauts are currently on the moon and they're trying to collect some data. Maybe one astronaut might be maybe a biologist, or some one astronaut might be collecting soil samples and analyzing that. So if they're doing all of that data collection and they need to collaborate, right? Some data analysts might be working on that collected data. So there is data collection which is going on, and we need an application. Actually, NASA needs an application for them, for their flight controllers to collaborate on a lunar mission data. So something really interesting. If someone is into again processing, or someone is into distributed computing, setting up architectures of computers, this is something very interesting. I know some many of you are into operating systems and are studying operating systems this year, and this is something which might be interesting. And we have other challenges, like there is one challenge when light curves throw us curveballs, and this is regarding a tool which allows us to explore the shape of an asteroid depending on the light curve which we get. So again, this is a lot to do with 3D modeling, rendering, ray tracing. If someone can analyze computer graphics, someone knows who knows how algorithms can be made for computer graphics and for computer vision as well. So yeah, many of these skills can be used in term of the product, in terms of the R&D or the core product. But a product in the end, you can have any of your diverse teammates helping you out on different domains of your project. So we can explain you more how a project looks like later on. But yeah, that was the first category, software development. The second category I will quickly show you is data science AI ML challenges. These are some challenges on specifically on NASA Open Data, specifically on the different data sets available to you, and what can you do with those data sets. And just so you guys don't know about it, I want to talk a little bit about NASA Open Data. So NASA Open Data, it is open source data sets provided to you by NASA, and these data sets are uh, data collected by different satellites. So NASA has, I think, more than 1,500 to 2,000 satellites alone, and then we have the 9 space agencies. They have their own satellites. All of these satellites do different things. Some monitor traffic, some monitor biology, some monitor some or the other things. So we have different kinds of data sets, and these data sets are available to you for use. These are free and they're available to you for use. Anyone who's working in data science, AI, ML, you need to play around with the data, and there are many kinds of data. So the only recommendation when it comes to data science is play around with different kinds of data sets as much as you can, because there are a lot of data sets available, a lot of data sets available. So these are free, and they can be used. So the first challenge I'm introducing you over here is identifying risks with science in communities. This specific challenge is focusing on developing a tool to determine the risk of landslides in rural areas and share that data with local bodies or governments. So some organizations might be your stakeholders. So you always, when you're participating in a hackathon, you always need to think from the perspective of stakeholders. There are a lot of stakeholders who will be involved with your particular project. You might make it big. Honestly, this is not just a weekend hackathon project. If you end up working on this with full dedication in those 3 days and you end up winning this hackathon, you will be getting a chance to present your projects to the NASA authorities. You will be getting a chance to present it and maybe get funding for your project. So they are your stakeholders. If you are able to convince them that, okay, my project might not make a lot of money, but it is something which is patentable or which can be converted into a patent. Why not? NASA will be supporting you in that patent mission, right? You just need to focus for these 2 days, solve a problem statement recursively, solve it till you don't understand it, or solve it till you get a lot of features for a product which you can sell. And again, I will tell about this later on, but for this specific challenge, you will be developing a tool to determine the risk of landslides in rural areas, and you will be sharing that data with local bodies or governments. So you might be making an application, you might be teaming up with an app developer, not a big deal. You might be just having a website where you populate that data set or the real time data which you want to share with the local body, or you might be building an API, something, right? It is up to you. That's your approach. That's your approach. This is the challenge. The challenge is to identify the or basically the determination of risk of landslides in rural areas, and sharing that with the local bodies. So causing awareness after analyzing the risk of landslides. And then again, you can use a lot of open source data to make your tool and to improve its efficiency. There are again a lot of links. We will share this presentation with you just after this whole presentation gets completed. We will be sharing this so you can access these links. And yes, if you want to check out more resources, please go to the website and check out these challenges. The second data science challenge which I want to introduce is leveraging AI ML for plastic marine debris. This is again a very interesting challenge for someone who's interested in climate control, for someone who's into climate change, someone who's actually passionate about making a difference over there. So someone who's interested to do that, or if someone who has data science knowledge, you can check out our chat, and our team has posted the link to the challenges. So leveraging AI ML to monitor, detect, and quantify plastic pollution. What is this challenge all about? You'll be applying certain algorithms, maybe artificial intelligence algorithms or ML algorithms, like maybe regression for prediction, or maybe classification, or some sort of algorithms. It depends on you. Okay, that's your approach. You will be doing that approach for a particular challenge. What is your challenge? Your challenge is to detect, quantify plastic pollution. So detect and quantify all of the plastic pollution in the marine, in marine debris. So there's a lot of marine debris, and there are a lot of data sets given again for this particular challenge. You can check them out. And this is the third challenge, but it is a very interesting challenge again. Now I would say that for all the challenges, to be honest with you, I will be again repeating that because I find all of those challenges interesting. This is for people who are interested into data science but do not have that much coding support for tonight, okay, or for these 3 days. So this is for someone who's into ontologies, or visualizing the data sets, or basically visualizing interactive networks. Okay, this is just about ontologies and interactive networks. It is not just data science. It is network visualization. It's another field. But yes, this is again an interesting thing for people who are not into too much into coding, but are into conceptual designing, more into conceptual designing. So you can check that out later as well. Okay. What are the remaining data science challenges for this year's Space Apps 2021? The fourth challenge is space for change. Space for change is saying that identify regions where such environmental injustice occurs. And what environmental injustice occurs, you can read online more on the website. But what you have to do is you have to design certain implementable solutions that enable equitable outcomes. And this is again using certain data sets. Specific data sets are given as a resource for this challenge. And this yeah, so many different kinds of data sets, from social data set, social economic data, maybe some political information, some random data. And you are also required to search your own data sets. Obviously, when you're from a data science background, you need to search your own relevant data sets to get the most accurate insights. So yeah, that's something which you have to do. We will be getting to it later on, but let's see the fifth challenge, which is about COVID-19, our old friend COVID-19. Or I could yeah, our old friend, because we've almost conquered it. So COVID-19, calculating the risk, building a smartphone application. And now again, these are some data science people. If you're someone who's working on this COVID-19 challenge, you can build a smartphone app by clubbing with someone who's from an app development background, if you do not have a team. So what you have to do is you have to build a smartphone application that provides COVID-19 risk warnings. And how are you calculating these risk warnings? Obviously, risk warnings are insights. How are we calculating these risk warnings? So we are getting data from multiple resources. Again, you'll be given a lot of resources by NASA. You have all that data, you'll be analyzing that data. So this is all about analysis, how well you can play around with different types of data sets and correlate that with COVID-19. So again, a lot of links are given, so check them out, check these links out. The last data science challenge is warning, things are warming up. So as the name states, again, this is something for people who are interested in climate change or providing a solution to this problem of climate change. So what is it all about? We need to use crowdsourced data. And this crowdsourced data is coming in from different various places, like the Earth observational data, and even the satellite data which is given. So we use this data, the crowdsourced data. Crowdsourced data is basically data coming in from different people, and maybe collected by phones, or collected by different nodes, maybe their computers, different nodes. And we need to provide, as our solution, we'll be providing warnings about potential impacts of climate change. We will be suggesting guidance, some advice, some mitigation measures. Mitigation measures are nothing but some avoiding techniques. How can we avoid a particular impact of a climate change, an adverse impact, something which is happening? So like, just to throw a fact to all of you, if you do not know about something called methane gas bubble explosions, read about it. These are bubble explosions which are going to happen. This is a new type of disaster which is going to get created, and this is going to get into action soon. This is already started in Siberia, and this is just because of this global warming. Because of global warming, our atmosphere temperature is increasing, and because of the rise in temperature, the solidified methane below the Earth's crust, that's getting converted into gas, pressurized gas, and that shots up into the crust, and that's a bubble explosion. So this is another interesting type of disaster. But yeah, that's going to happen. That started already in Siberia, and these are certain adverse potential, like certain impacts of climate change, and we need to maybe mitigate them, maybe tackle them, right? So maybe think about these things. Like, there are many kinds of solutions for a challenge, and we have different kinds of challenges. So this what we need to provide in the end is a proof of concept for solving a particular challenge. It might not be a detailed solution, it might not be a full-fledged product, but what it needs to be is a proof of concept, something which is explainable, something which is logical. Okay, we've spoken about the two big categories for this space apps challenge. Generally the computer science categories. We'll come to computer science in a bit, but we have one interesting challenge for people who are from a mechanical background, or for participants who are interested in mechanics. And this challenge specifically is called as Let It Go. So let it go. It's also, I think it's also called as Without a Bang. I'm not sure, but Let It Go is the target for Let It Go is to design a mechanical separation device without the use of pyrotechnics. And this again, if you say it's a mechanical separation device, so it might be an actual hardware which you might be implementing and documenting that, maybe, just maybe, or it might be a proof of concept, maybe some 3D CAD models which justify your animation, which justify the separation and justify the forces going on. Maybe using a simulation if you're from a mechanical background. If not, then maybe some just some 3D models with some animation displaying your proof of concept. And along with your proof of concept, you will just be giving a scientific explanation of your proof of concept. That's what is needed. So designing a mechanical separation device without the use of pyrotechnics. What is pyrotechnics? Using fire. So techniques is techniques, right? And pyro is fire. So using fire, so fire, yeah. So fire techniques for or maybe combustible techniques, combustion based techniques or inflammation based techniques to generate force or to generate propulsion. And this, yeah. So basically, that is that is what is needed to be designed in this specific challenge. And now take a good consideration of operating temperature, energy use, and other specific constraints given in the challenge details. So again, a lot of details are given to you, features are given to you. So for a mechanical separation device, something like temperature monitoring needs to be taken place, and your accuracy will be basically the actual compared with your proof of concept. So that's how your accuracy will be monitored, and your accuracy will be in these specific parameters. So make sure you give a good look for these links and the specific full pages in detail on the website, NASA's website, where the challenges are uploaded. Over there, you can see different resources, but you can also see the potential considerations which you need to keep in mind for each of the specific challenge. Okay, we're almost halfway. We're almost halfway through the challenge, and let's see the next challenge, which is game design development or multimedia based challenges. Okay, so I think I have some questions. I'll be taking the questions as soon as I'm done with all the challenges. So the game design development or media multimedia based challenges, these are again a set of challenges. These are for people with some sort of skill in game design or multimedia, or someone who's a designer who can implement the skills into an actual presentable educational tool, which is a game which might be used by astronauts to test or play, right? So there are different kinds of games which might be asked to implement. Like for example, the first one is specifically for simulating the landing. So Planetary Lander video game is a challenge given by NASA, and this is specifically to create an inspiring and educational video game or interactive 3D model to simulate a landing on the moon or Mars. So moon or Mars, take any, and according to that specific planet or that specific celestial body, make a make a proper video game or make a 3D interactive model. When I say about 3D interactive model, you can just make some 3D model and animate them together just to show the accurate details for landing, just to show educational point of view in it. Okay, so from an educational point of view, show how planetary landing is taking place for a specific Mars or a moon mission. Okay, so that's the goal for this specific challenge. And again, I am there to help you out. Many more mentors are there. I'll be talking soon about how you can access these mentors, but these mentors will be available to you for feedback. So day one, we will be making the teams and start working. Day two is when you already have almost most of the work done. This is where you need feedback, so you can schedule one-on-one sessions with mentors. We have a lot of mentors who are subject matter experts, people who are experts in their domains, and besides being experts, they're people from like different levels of like in a company. Some are founders of a company, some people are like I have one a designer who's working for Google. There are different kinds of people. We have mentors coming in from the department, several professors. Professor Nikhilo Nuklov, who's who will be taking the data science projects and giving mentorship to the data science projects. Whoever need that, Professor James Patton, Dr. James Patton is coming in as a consultant to game designers, and he'll be helping out all the game designers to plan out and maybe implement certain things or tackle certain bugs. So you can have many mentors which will be helping you out on this. So don't worry, and focus on on the detail given to you online in the challenge. So just go through the challenge in detail, focus on each and every word. Okay, the next game which it is given by the NASA Space Apps community for as a challenge is Space Quest. And what is Space Quest? Space Quest is creating a game to teach players about exploration as a whole. And the setting can be any point, like any point in space, in time. So maybe if you want to show Big Bang, for example, just throwing it out there for some creative people, throwing it out there. If you want to show Big Bang, okay, Space Quest is just something like a time travel, and it takes you to a brief history in time, something in time, back in time, and then back in time and back in space, and then you simulate something. Okay, you might be simulating a formation of a star, you might be simulating something, but that's just for space exploration. That's just for teaching someone about it, about the complicated process of maybe creation of a star, or maybe Big Bang, or maybe creation of atmosphere on a planet after it detaches from a star. So there are many things which you can read about: how planets are created, how stars are created, how galaxies are created. Maybe read about what galactic cannibalism is. Just throwing it out for you. Okay, so these are some things which you can tackle about in space exploration. Then the setting can be at any point, and again, you can check out these links. Now, the format of the game can be of any type. Now, again, you can be as creative as you can. Okay, it's up to you. You can make a video game, but for people who do not have video game making skills, who do not have skills in like 3D development, or maybe using Unity engine or Unreal engine, these game engines. So if you do not know that, you can just plan it out. You can plan a board game. Okay, you can plan a board game, but that specific board game should be specifically for space exploration. It should be teaching something. So educational use case should be there. So again, many links are and for given for resources. So please check them out in detail. Many more game design development based challenges other than them. There is something called as the Trail to Mars. Can you keep your crew alive? And this specifically deals with creating a game for 10 to 14-year olds. So if you're dealing with this challenge, you need to think from the perspective of a 10 to 14-year-old person. So create a game for 10 to 14-year-old person that highlights the dangers and challenges of space exploration. So all the dangers and challenges. So just simulating that, maybe not in a high resolution, maybe something which makes sense for a 10 to 14-year-old to understand. Maybe cartoonized, maybe something in the middle of cartoon and reality, maybe something which has a caricature thing, or maybe something which has some kind of subtitles to keep the 10 to 14-year-old engaged. So these are some ideas which I'm just throwing for someone who's working on this challenge. Virtual exploration version 2.0. Why is it 2.0? Just because this challenge has been there previously in Space Apps. So if someone is working on this challenge, you can check out the previous projects. And there are many challenges actually. Just this reminds me, there are many challenges which are being held for the second time, or maybe rebooted for the second time. So you should be searching regarding your challenge. You should be searching everything online, and it might be a case that that specific challenge was there last year as well. So you might be getting a lot of projects from that specific challenge, and you might be getting a lot of head start or maybe reusable material, because all of these projects are open source, and all of the participants last time would have made their content open source. So that can be reused definitely, right? And this specific challenge, Virtual Planetary Exploration version 2.0, it specifically deals with creating an interactive 3D model of equipments that future space explorers might be using for exploring a celestial body's surface. So this means exploring a celestial body's surface. How do you explore a surface? Okay, you can do it from here, right? You can have huge telescopes watching the planet surface, performing image processing, and yeah, knowing everything, exploring the surface, right? That's how we have Mars and Moon view in Google Earth. That's how we have all of the terrain, right? That's how we've explored all the terrain. But yeah, that's not the way of exploration. The way of exploration is actually doing something with the terrain, testing out the terrain, maybe checking out the soil sample and checking out the temperature, the pressure value on the surface. So that means sending equipments to space. So if you might know about the Martian Pathfinder challenge by NASA, and there are many there are many missions by NASA for Mars, where they send rovers, right? They send Martian rovers, they send different kinds of spacecrafts to Mars just for monitoring. So what do these spacecrafts do? These spacecrafts have equipments, different kinds of equipments attached onto them. Some might have some kind of sensors, maybe infrared sensors, ultrasonic sensors, which might be performing image processing of those specific kind on the ultrasonic images or the infrared images. So we'll have like these uh, uh, they have like different kinds of equipments attached onto their bodies, and like different kinds of future space explorers can be used. So we'll need 3D models in this specific challenge, which can educate people for historical items which were used in previous missions, or maybe you can create or invent your own over here. Again, a lot of links are given. If you need any help on this challenge, you can personally approach me. I have worked on this particular challenge, something related to this challenge myself when I took part in 2016. So you can talk to me regarding this challenge if anyone is interested. Okay, what else? We've covered all the main technical challenges, but when I tell about space apps, I always say this, that anyone can take part. Anyone can and everyone can take part. So someone who might be interested in teaching, for example, someone who's interested in teaching, or someone who is good at strategy formulation, or yeah, basically strategy formulation or policy making, you can check out these challenges. This is the first challenge in the teaching domain or policy making domain, which is near space near you. In this, you need to develop a lesson plan and bill of materials. So now you might notice that the hackathon has taken a slight different direction. Till now, we were talking about projects. We had like different kind of projects which can be converted into companies, which can be converted into maybe maybe different kinds of IPs or patents, or yeah, different kinds of productive projects. So I call them as productive projects because they bring you productivity, and they bring you some sort of a goal which you can achieve. And eventually, if you're good at it, you will be working with NASA. If you win this challenge at a local level, if you win this challenge at a global level, this project will be used for NASA. So whatever plan, whatever project you are taking part in, I want you to give it utmost dedication, and we will be supporting you end to end. So this whole session, we're almost 45 minutes down the session. I'm almost done with completing the challenges. I'll quickly go through these challenges, but everyone knows this, that there are a lot of resources given to you for each challenge. By now, everyone should know that. The second challenge in teaching or strategy formulation is, if someone is into content creation, if someone is in a good at very good at content creation, you can check this out. So you need to study about synthetic aperture radar technology, which is basically a concept in physics, which is concept in optical physics, and communication as well. So communication, and basically generally physics, and physics in the communication, and all of those concepts. So yes, synthetic aperture radar is a very complicated concept, but if you want to explain it to a wider audience, that means if I want to explain this synthetic aperture radar technology for someone who's a computer scientist, okay, it would be done in a different manner. But then if I want to explain this to a designer, for example, I need to know that, okay, prerequisites are different for a designer. I need to tell that designer some things about synthetic aperture radar technology to link with the existing understanding which the designer has, any understanding which the designer might have upon reading this word. So synthetic aperture radar technology is a complicated topic, and someone who's working with this challenge will be breaking this complicated topic down for different target audiences, and then will approach into a specific presentation manner, and then will be basically having a 2.5-minute video explaining it in a very small, concise manner. So it has a lot to do with how how your delivery is, how your presentation is, how do you make it concise. So again, I'm not going to spend more time on any of these challenges now. I'm going to go slightly fast. Teaching, again, there is something called there's another challenge: unlock the secrets of sun. So this is to create an interactive and immersive application or any kind of visualization tool to educate public about the many spacecrafts exploring the sun. So yes, if someone is into web development, yes, you can make a website, but yes, have some visualization tool, because you need to check out these links, and these links will always talk about certain considerations to be taken place. And if you see these considerations, I think for this specific challenge, you have it needs to have a visualizing tool. So if you have a visualizing tool, maybe use WebGL to integrate in your website. We can talk later if you're interested in this challenge, but uh, I can brainstorm together with you on the technologies you can use. So if anyone is interested, we can have a talk after the session. Lastly, another teaching pedagogy based policy based challenge is measuring the value of Earth observations. So this is basically on finding documented examples where individuals or organizations are using satellite data to make a decision. And this can be any kind of decision and any kind of data sets. Any kind of decision makers can be making any kind of data driven decisions. So we need to describe the actions, and this is what this challenge is all about. So again, check out the links, and I will not go in detail on this specific challenge for now, but you can come back to me and we can discuss in detail if you have chosen the challenge. Okay, health science based challenge. There is something which is specifically to design a deployable crop production system to support a crew of 4 to 6 on a transit mission to Mars and back to Earth. So if anyone who's interested in designing diet plans, for example, if anyone who knows about nutritional requirements of people, they can just start googling and use these resources. There are many resources. One of the resources I remember, it talks specifically about how you can grow food in space. So it talks about the whole process of maybe hydroponic or xeroponic or aeroponics. These are different techniques of growing or agriculture in space, and you can plan out your system accordingly. Then there is something which is called as drones and satellites for urban development. There's one more challenge. This challenge is again you need to provide a proof of concept strategic plan for using drones and satellites for better urban planning. So planning cities better. How you can use drones? They can be again. I can give you many types of examples from planning, like using drones to deliver first aid response, to deliver using drones to deliver anything like food deliveries, for example. But yes, again, when you think about the problems, when you think about the problem, you should always go and think about it recursively. That means think about all the different kinds of problems and solve them. So payload is a problem when it comes to drones. Weight, putting weight on top of a drone is a problem. Generating that propulsion is a problem. So yeah, you think about such problems you after brainstorming. And then seeing the unseeable, that means viewing bugs from space. I think there's a typo over there, but viewing bugs from space. This is basically to develop innovative ways to advance our ability to detect insect life, track and predict change over time. That's basically specifically for entomologists and people who are interested to detect insect life and visualize those patterns, maybe quantify those insect lives, and maybe have some patterns from it. Lastly we have some artistic challenges. So we have something called as the superpower earth. This is again something which is non-technical. anyone can do this. Someone who's interested in comic making or caricatures, personify one of Earth's abilities as a superhero figure and produce it digitally or in a sketch. So just conceptualize that and think of two powers that a superhero might possess that ultimately helps keep the Earth inhabitants alive. And honestly, this is being used by NASA in some of their missions. So yeah, it is just that open ended. NASA Space Apps welcomes everyone to have any of the different kinds of challenges, from the technical challenges which we discussed to even origami, or have using origami art, creating using the arts meets science approach to develop a copy or an artwork which resembles James Webb Space Telescope, which is the most advanced telescope which we might have these days. So read about it if you do not know. Again, it's an interesting thing which you can go through. We have more artistic challenges like discovering science connections. Again, if someone is interested, we can discuss in detail. But yes, it is very open-ended. And artfully illuminated asteroids. This again is for designers, for not just designers, for people who have any form of art experience, maybe musicians, maybe people who are into video design. Okay, any kind of artists. And again, a lot of resources and links are given. So that basically wraps up my session on the challenges. I'll quickly give you a tech demo, and I'll quickly give you a demo on which I will go through certain examples on how you can break down a particular problem statement, how you can go from scratch. So it starts with taking a problem statement first of all. So I'm just taking an example. I'm giving you an example. You have COVID-19, calculate the risk. This is a challenge, a problem statement given to you by NASA. The problem statement which is given is build a smartphone application that provides individualized, geolocated COVID-19 risk assessments, and keep the UI simple, intuitive. Users should be able to easily fill in the required local input information and obtain a COVID-19 risk factor. That's just for everyone to know that this is a challenge statement which is given. It is very open ended. What do we do with a problem statement or a challenge statement? We take out certain things which we can do. What we can do? The first point over here is, first of all, just because COVID is not an innovative thing, and this tool would not be that innovative, and we are looking to make an innovative tool. So first of all, let's do competitor analysis. Let's take out all of the different COVID-19 calculators which are present. We research about that. We get information that, okay, we have such a problem statement. Let's see who all satisfies those statements. So there are many calculators. We see all of them. There are many features given to you, given by any of those calculators. And then we see the second point, which is proximity information from smartphone networks. This can be useful. This is some information which we already know that, okay, for contact tracing, we can track specific nodes, specific phones, and we can track specific networks using those smartphones. And then lastly, we use those open source resources which are given to us by NASA. So that's also given to you. So we correlate the NASA resources which are given to us with the problem statement. So we do that, and these are some examples. Like there is a COVID-19 dashboard by GHU dashboard. There is a data tracker by CDC, again for COVID, given to you by NASA. So these are some resources given to you already. You can use these resources and make sense out of it. What kind of data is given to you, and what kind of assessments can you make? And definitely there are many visualizers. And when it comes to data science or anything of that sort, you can use visualizers to take a lot of knowledge from the data directly. Okay, that was one example. Let's see another example. Warning, things are heating up. That was the global warming challenge which we saw. And this challenge is all about developing tools to generate heat related risk warnings. And these tools should use models with local crowdsourced data. We saw all of that. It could be any kind of impact, human, environmental, ecological impact, and maybe providing some mitigation strategies or measures which are things like certain strategies to handle such issues of global warming which are going to happen. So what can we do? We have some resources. We can have a quantitative approach. We can have certain graphical displays depicting certain data sets. which are maybe predictive algorithms for using for maybe detecting certain risks. Okay, heat related risks. So that's what we have to do. And again, these are some resources which we can use. So this was just to give you an example that how you can use these resources. This is another one, discovering science connections. I did not mention this in detail when I was mentioning the challenges, but this specific challenge is slightly open-ended, and you can have fun with it. It is a very creative challenge. You need to visualize each topic as a node inside a graph or a tree. That's what you have to do. You have many different types of data sets. You can combine them together, and we have an example. A working demo can be found on this specific website, zephyr.com/Wikipedia. Go over there and search for two Wikipedia pages, and that would give you some sort of a connection in terms of Wikipedia pages. Just play around with this zephyr.com/Wikipedia work demo, and maybe we can go through this as well in the end. So let's talk about it later on, but directly go to the design demo. So we are almost done with the first section of our call today, which is explaining you the challenges. And I will just tell you just give you some tips quickly for basically your effective storytelling. In the end, you have to give a presentation, right? How do you do that? So you start first of all when you don't have anything, you just have a team. Maybe you might not have a team, you might just have a skill right now. Okay, you create your goal first of all. While all of this is going on, today we'll be networking, today we'll be sorting out the teams. But meanwhile, you individually, you need to create your own goal. You have seen a lot of challenges. You need to create your own goal. You need to see, do you have any much resources to do these challenges first of all? Because you have a big goal. You don't have a small goal. In order to tackle that big goal, you need to have all the like everything in your arsenal, to be honest with you, and then only you can conquer that goal. So you check if you have your enough resources. If you do not have, you find your resources. We will help you find those resources. Those resources can be found online on the Space Apps website, or as secondary resources which we can give you. And if you have enough resources, then you start breaking down your goal. I will again go into detail how you create your goal, how you break down your goal. The blue rectangles over here, I will explain these blue rectangles step by step to you. But in a sense, you break down your goal. Once you break down your goal, you check if you need more resources or not. If you need more resources, then you find more resources. Maybe you can allocate that to one of your teammates while the hackathon is going on. That, okay, I'm coding, you find more resources so that we have a better plan. So this is how you do it, and you do it in iteration, and you divide your tasks and you finish with each individual tasks. You have a very complicated project, you break that project down in a sequential manner, solve short term goals for a long term plan. That's what you need to do. So in the end, you submit the collected response of all the individual tasks that you have performed. So this is just to give you an idea and just to give you a tip of how you will be going ahead. And these are some resources which are given to you on the website. If you see, there's an animation playing on the bottom left of this slide. So resources, finding your resources, you can have any kind of resources on the website. If you see, there's this resources tab, which I just clicked, and these are the background resources given to you by the NASA, the example resources, or even the other space agencies or the various global collaborators. Then we have some examples. The second point over here, when you want to find your resources, background resources, okay, well and good. But examples are very important. These examples are generally competitor analyses, or maybe their previous year examples, right? And the third is the last year challenges, which are not for all. These are specifically for the challenges which are repeated. But again, it might be a case where you Google properly and you actually land up with a project which is already done, right? Or maybe you are able to reuse a lot of things from GitHub. Like, that is something which I will suggest you genuinely. Everyone needs to focus on reusability. 2 days is 2 days is an enough time to have a very good proof of concept. And for whom is it a good time? for those people who can reuse everything rapidly prototype a proof of concept to solve this challenge. So what we need to focus on is to provide do rapid prototyping on this specific challenge and be ready with a particular product which can be sold to a stakeholder. And selling is not, when I talk about selling, I'll talk about this later on. But okay, how do you create a goal? You have a challenge, right? Virtual planetary exploration. I showed this example to you a while back. We have this challenge. This challenge is to create interactive 3D models, right? Example is a planetary geology tool. So how do you break it down? You make specific goals. That's a general goal. The example or the challenge which is given to you, that's a general goal. We have a specific goal which we make out of it. So what do? We say that a challenge is, this challenge is about creating or developing an equipment that can help the astronauts in planetary exploration and discovering the moon or in any planet, especially for the 2024 Mars mission. And then develop an equipment that is used in drilling, for example. So we took a specific use case now. We took drilling over here into the picture. Drilling is a very small example of a planetary geology tool, right? So planetary geology tool can be of many types. We can have drilling, we might have maybe something like a construction, maybe addition, additive manufacturing, right? Drilling is subtraction, right? Drilling is applying force in a corkscrew manner, where we have a clockwise motion of a screw, and that screw pulls up the soil, right? That is what drilling is, to be honest with you. When we talk about drilling a hole in the ground, this is what we do. So we need to think about a specific use case now. We have an open challenge, but we need to think about a specific use case. So we have the 27 challenges. Each 27 challenge can have, I don't know, almost like many permutations and combinations of such specific goals which could be made. So you can have very different kinds of specific goals from these generic challenges. And first, the first step for you is to create your goal. Once you create your goal, once you're done with creation of your goal, then you take this forward and you break down your created goal, right? So you break down your created goal. You have the goal that, okay, your challenge is about drilling. Okay, now what, how do you break it down? You break it down. First of all, you answer the question why. Why do you want to do it? Okay, you can have slow speeds. How do you do it and why do you do it? And these are some questions. What do you do it? These are some questions you answer, right? These are some questions which you break down, and I think you can read it on the screen. What are we actually doing? We think about answers, not just about questions. We answer the question why, and we can have different efforts, like different ways of answering the question. Maybe the first is like a problem of the heat problem which is there, and we can tackle that using a slow speed drill, but maybe a high torque slow speed drill, right? So that we get to know only after we perform the recursive question and answer which we need to do, right? So we perform all of the question and answer, and in the end we get a lot of things, like we need to reduce the rotation of the drill enough to maintain a cool temperature. That's what we have to do. And the drill stem to be evacuated from the middle to pull one column of soil automatically, right? So these are some ways how you can break down your goals just by breaking down questions, answering that, okay, if this question arises, then okay, solving of heat problem, that's one question. So we need to solve the heat problem, so we need to reduce the rotation. And like how are we solving it? If we think about it scientifically, if we backtrace these process, we need to think about how scientifically are they happening, scientifically how is it happening actually. Okay, so that was one example. Another example could be the origami challenge, which was very weird, but I'll just explain to everyone. It is to create an origami artwork that looks like the JWST, and this could showcase the complexity and design of the web's engineering, hardware deployment, and its aesthetics. So that's the specific goal. So aesthetics, focusing on the aesthetics maybe, right? So focusing on the aesthetics and the complexity, showing the complexity in an easy manner, and the hardware deployment. So web's engineering hardware deployment is the one which is in focus over here. So that's the specific goal for this origami challenge. And then Again, how will you break it down? You'll answer how create a better understanding of James Webb Telescope. Obviously, why would you do an origami? Why do you do an origami to represent a model of JWST? You create a better understanding by answering the question of what. So simplifying the complexity through design, obviously, and showcasing the instruments and deployment capabilities. These are the two things which we need to focus on. Then once we have answered the question what, we focus on how. That okay, how do we do that? We need to create origami artwork, including as much detail as possible. That's first thing. And then create instructions and diagrams along with the origami. Like, okay, origami, someone can do it, but now you need to present it as well, right? So this is where you will be creating instructions and diagrams to explain its deployment capabilities. So this is what it brings me to deployment. Deployment is the one which you have to talk about. And for deploying it in the end, how are you doing it? You're deploying in the end by first finding a theoretical solution. We are doing the theoretical part, which is breaking down the problem statement. Then we are approaching that problem statement by designing certain individual features. Okay, approaching those features individually. Then we have those features, we develop that into a product. We shape those features into a product. Okay, we have a product. Now we compare that product with the reality. We test it out with the actual things going on. So we see the accuracy maybe, and we do the testing. And finally, you will be submitting or deploying your product, or yeah, submitting it for the stakeholders. So you need to divide your tasks in an accurate manner like this, and you can start working on this. Okay, so just before we break out now, it's 7:08 right now. So what we are going to do now is we'll be having certain networking sessions. So what we'll be doing now is we'll have certain networking sessions, different kinds. So there are three kinds of networking sessions, not sessions, but strategies. So three networking strategies which we will be employing in order for you to make teams. Or if you do not have, if you maybe have one person who's not there on the team, then you can look out for additional team members, and having more team members would be definitely advantageous, because 2 days you can get all the help you need. So we will be going ahead with a pitch fest. Okay, we will be doing a pitch fest where that pitch fest is somewhere that's something which you will be going through, which is a break where everyone will be getting a chance to switch on their mics and cameras and just pitch something. So pitch your own problem statement or your own approach. So I will be explaining how will you do the pitching, but there will be a pitch fest. Followed by a pitch fest, we'll be going out into breakout rooms, and these will actually be speed breakout rooms. So I'll tell you certain questions which we'll discuss, and certain need for skill which will be made aware to everyone. And now, before we dive deep into the networking, I want to take in questions by anyone. So if there are any questions, I'll take in now. And let's see, there was one question on the chat. Whoever has any questions, you can post on the chat, and I will be going through those questions. So the one question is, hello sire, could you please explain this one again? And I think by this one you meant the mechanical challenge. That's what I can recall. Yeah, let it go, the mechanical challenge. Okay, so the mechanical challenge which we have is basically the one where there is a mechanical separation device which needs to be prepared. So design a mechanical separation device without use of pyrotechnics, emulating the separation of a spacecraft part. So to be honest with you, if you are taking part in this challenge, then a proof of concept is the one which NASA will be looking out for. A proof of concept in which you provide an end-to-end solution, maybe in terms of theoretical concepts which you'll be using, or some mathematical knowledge which you'll be using. But using all of those theoretical and mathematical concepts, you need to justify that okay, a mechanical separation device would be there which would not be using pyrotechnics, and it would be successfully separating from a spacecraft part. So it is basically something which is used in docking. If you do not know about docking, read up about docking, that why us okay so why a spacecraft is divided into four parts or three parts, and different parts of the spacecraft are divided. So if you might have seen the spacecraft launch, the recent launches by either like any of them, Jeff Bezos or maybe Richard Branson, or the newest one which is Inspiration 4, which is by SpaceX. If you've seen any of them, all of them have spacecraft launches, and the launches have detachments, have certain like cycles, detachment cycles, where specific regions or the specific portions of the spacecraft get detached for different reasons. Okay, different reasons. Read it up online, but I can talk about it later on with your team if you have a team, and we can discuss it in detail. But yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to provide a proof of concept of that specific like hardware product, and you can give 3D models and animations for that. So that's specifically that challenge. And now any more challenges, anyone else, anything to discuss till now? If there is anything to discuss, please. Okay, this is something which you need to fill. Everyone, whoever is on the chat, you need to fill in this ASAP if you haven't done before. This is nothing but it is participant details. I have shared it on my screen. If you can see my screen, this is a form which will ask you some questions, and this will be helpful for you the next day and when we will be tackling it later. So let me go back. I think I switched off my screen by mistake. 1 minute, everyone. Okay, so this was the present. Okay, cool. Breaking down the goal. We broke down this goal. We saw how a goal could be broken down. We saw all of that. We saw dividing of tasks, and now we are on networking. So if there are no more doubts or questions, the only thing which I would recommend everyone is to fill in these forms first of all. These forms are very important because you'll be you will be given access to a lot of things. A lot of things are going on. Accenture is coming in, just so you know. Accenture is coming in for a grad program. They will be accessing all the participant details. There are many companies who will be accessing this. There are mentors who are subject matter experts, just to mention again, that they'll be coming in tomorrow. And networking is something which will play a very important role. There are I can see very less people on this meeting, but honestly, whoever is joined in can use this for changing some things, honestly, in their lives. And maybe it could end up becoming a very big opportunity for you. So if you go all out attack in these next 2 days, you might as well you might as well create a proper product which could be getting you the winner prize for this location. And then as a global nomination process, we have all the challenges proceed on the same project for 1 more week. So 1 more week we work on this, and we submit it for the global prize. And that global prize is a very bigger one. It is basically to get all those 10 people, 10 teams invited to NASA on a proper trip. And that trip is basically showing them a rocket launch at Cape Canaveral in Florida, and they get a chance to present their projects to the authorities so that they can be maybe imbibed into those NASA space apps NASA missions which are going on. So these are NASA missions, actual NASA missions which are going on. So networking will be playing a lot of role over here. Now, the next thing which I want from every one of you is to fill the Pitch Fest form. This is the next form which is uploaded, and please fill this Pitch Fest form ASAP because Pitch Fest is going to start soon. And what is a Pitch Fest? Let me just carefully take you through what is a Pitch Fest. What do you need to pitch? How will you pitch? So if you do not have a teammate, if if you do not have a teammate, or if you have a team and have a vacancy, and if you're looking for a particular skilled person, or in any case if you have a team already ready, then I want you to pitch your projects. That means A plus B plus C equals D. What does this mean? So A is approach, B is your business case, C is to channelize your approach and your business case, and D is to deliver the final version. This is what it means. I'll quickly take you through each one of them. Uh, what is the approach? In an approach, you always think about a challenge. Okay, what is your challenge? You decide your challenge first of all. Then you have certain skills which you might be bringing. For example, you need to identify this for yourself. You need to identify if you are bringing a particular skill to that challenge, and then what sort of innovations you want to bring to a particular challenge. Once you're done with your approach, your personal approach, you think about the business case of your approach. So business case of your approach means how can your approach be converted into something substantial, meaning something which could maybe converted into a business or maybe give advantage to someone, maybe in terms of a social advantage. That's also a business case. I'm not talking about only a monetary business. I'm just talking about use cases and business cases. So business cases are always calculated in terms of return on investments. That means if you have an approach, for example, that means you are proceeding a particular NASA Space Apps challenge in a particular manner, you will have your approach. That means you will be investing certain things. You will be investing into your approach. You will be having maybe a back end or maybe a product. Okay, if your let it go is the challenge, the mechanical challenge which we explained, you might be talking about what is the costing of the product. Okay, that is okay. How that if this will be converted into a company after these 2 days, after you winning, after you win this competition, you might convert it into a company. Then what happens? You can convert this into a company only if you have thought about the business case from day one. This is what a hackathon means. You approach challenges, you break down these challenges, and you end up with business cases. You end up with actual products which can bring you a lot of advantage and a lot of maybe it can bring you a lot of return on that investment. So you need to calculate that, and when you pitch that finally to an investor, you should always be aware about the return on investment of a particular approach you are taking. That means if you've invested maybe $15,000 maybe in a project, that okay, according to the current demographics or the market studies which you have performed, you can show the investor that okay, within 2 years that investor can recoup the money and start in the profit zone. Okay, start having profit if the investor is investing in you, if the investor is converting your product into a sellable product or your idea into a product. So you need to also think about unique selling points of your products, which are basically features which you have formed after you thought about solving a challenge, right? So some USPs or unique selling points, and then you also think about accessibility of your business case, like how accessible your product is. And lastly, competitor analysis. If you already have many more things to think about, if you already have many more companies to compete with on the specific approach, like on the specific approach which you have taken. So it depends on your approach, your competitor to your approach. That's what you think about in a business case. Once you have an approach and a business case, this is raw data. You channelize that. So to be honest with you, you should be doing it right now yourself. This is going on individually for each one of you. So you should be doing all of this by yourself. You need to channelize your approach and business case and focus on this. That a pitch, a specific pitch is only there for 45 seconds. A specific pitch, you will be getting a pitch time for only 45 seconds. That means your mic and your everything will be deactivated and you'll be given access for 45 seconds so that you can come up to the stage and pitch your idea to the remaining people, to all of the people who are there. Okay, so that's one thing. Let's take a break for 1 minute, and you need to think about this, and I'll be joining in a couple 1 minute or 2 minutes from now. Okay, so I think some people have started pitching, started filling in the form already. Sean says that he has filled the form. Okay, so Sean, we will be soon starting the pitches. I can give you access as soon as we are ready. Just need like some minutes, 3 or 4 minutes for people to fill in. Whoever is going to pitch needs to fill in right now, and then we can start the pitch fest as soon as people fill in. Okay, so people, make sure, everyone make sure you fill in the form, the pitch fest form. This is the pitch fest form, and it talks about, it has email. You need to enter your email. Then there's a team name where you can enter anything, or you can leave it blank if you do not have the team. And then you need to write your full name, your number, your three questions. This is very important. So the three questions, these are basically talking about the A and the B and the C for this. So you need to think about your approach. So take this time, take your time. No need to rush right now. Take these 5 minutes. Think about your approach. Think about your business cases. If you haven't, and if you haven't, then be upfront about it. Don't worry. He will be helping you out in forming those teams. He'll be helping you out in joining teams. So yeah, that's basically it. So let's have 5 more minutes so that people can pitch. And yeah, that's again a reminder for everyone. There's a Limerick chat channel. There's a channel dedicated for the Limerick chat, and that specific portal, which is chat.spaceappschallenge.org. I will show this on my page right now. If you can see, there's a chat portal which has many channels, and Limerick is a channel, but there is another channel called Find a Team. So this is the last approach. If you're not able to form any teams, you can form teams over here. So I see Osobi has posted some message over here. I think you've already started using this channel, and many of the team, any teams looking for a programmer. Yes, see, Osobi is one of the participants from our location, and he already has reaching out. And this find a team is basically connecting you to all the participants in the world. So you can have all types of skilled people connected over here. And yes, you can start posting over here. Exactly. What else? Let's see, Pitch Fest. Okay, we'll be starting the Pitch Fest in 4 minutes from now. So 7:30 Irish time we'll be starting the Pitch Fest. And yes, also one more thing just before we break off. We have a retro room, an easy retro room. and that would be used by every one of you, so that everyone can plan certain things accordingly. So I'll be sharing the public board over here on the chat. Yeah, it's shared now. So the retro board, this is the link. You can access this link and ask any of us any questions or yourself. So we will be again breaking out into breakout rooms after the pitch fest. Once you have pitched everyone, we will be breaking out into breakout rooms so that everyone gets to talk to each other. And then we will be at that specific moment, you can brainstorm on these things. So what I want from everyone to do is, if you have any questions about networking or team building, you add a card over here like this. For example, how can I contact mentors? And then some people who are interested in a particular notion, if you are someone who's also interested in the same thing, to know the same thing, then you can give it a vote over here like this, like remaining vote, and you can give it a vote over here, right? And you just need to add your questions regarding a particular heading. So networking and team building, if you have any questions or anything to ask, maybe very easy questions or anything, you can post over here, and we will be taking care of this simultaneously. We will be seeing this simultaneously. So go ahead, post your questions. We can have a 2-minute break now so that you can post questions over here, any kind of questions, or maybe some things you're excited about, or some questions for Space Apps Limerick event, or specifically about the challenges. You can post anything. So this is how you can do it. Okay, so we are there's someone who's asking a question: do we need to build a complete project or a POC? I will be answering those questions, but yeah, you can feel free to use this, and I will be gradually answering you this question, any of those questions. So do we need to build a complete project or a POC? Uh, it's only a POC, a sellable POC. So that's how I term it as. It's a sellable POC. And you have to always keep stakeholders in mind. Okay, I'll post this, and yeah, our pitches individual or per team. So pitches are individual. Anyone can pitch anything, but you can get into a team later on. It's fine. You can pitch anything. Pitches can be done by anyone individually or by a team. That's not a problem. Team Space Beans needs you. One lucky individual will get to join this awesome teams. Definitely, I can vouch for them. I know these people. They're really motivated to participate in this competition. So anyone who's interested, join their team. They just have one vacancy, and okay, you can talk to them. What else? Uh, you can also write what are you excited about. Maybe if someone is excited to win, like I'm always excited to win when I start the competition, when if I'm taking part. But yeah, there are many things you can be excited about, or you might have many questions regarding the event. So feel free to post it over here. Okay, let's go get back to pitching, and let's start pitching. Let me see the queuing part over here. Okay, so we have the responses, and I think uh, we will start calling out people who can be given access for the pitching, and there's a queue for a pitch fest. So we'll be starting the pitch fest now, and quickly we'll be pitching. And who's the first one? Let's see. Okay, Craig. Craig, you are the first one. And if you want to go ahead, switch on your mic or camera, whatever you want. If you want to pitch, you'll be given 45 seconds, and you can pitch to everyone in the team or in this meeting, whoever is there. So whenever you're ready, uh, can you use the chat functionality to say that okay, I'm starting now, and then we'll be doing the timing thing. This is Craig Leamy. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So Craig can start now. And okay, Mahir says, shall I go ahead afterwards? I made a few slides. Should I share screens when I'm doing mine? It is up to you, but you'll be getting 45 seconds, almost 45 seconds to pitch it. Okay. So that's the initial pitch that, okay, what am I going to do? And if you need any potential teammates, call out. Okay. That, okay, I need a designer, I need a business person, and then we can get you that people, and or maybe someone who's sitting in this audience wants to join your team. So yes, that's the concept of pitches. And yes, Craig, you can go ahead. You can start now, Craig.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Craig. All right, you can start.
Okay.
Great.
I'm part of the space team or Space Bean team. I think our main goal is to work on the light curve challenge. Our approach is going to be something along the lines of visualizing any object in 3D and then either using ray tracing or capturing images and calculating the individual pixel light level to calculate the light curve. And yeah, it's going to be about it. I think we could use an extra programmer if anyone wants to join the team, but yeah, that's it.
That's great, Craig. That's great. Thank you so much for pitching. And okay, so the next person who's up for pitching is actually Sean in the whole chronology. Sean is the next one in line. Sean, are you ready for pitching?
Yeah, I'm ready there. Can you hear
Great.
me
You can
okay?
go ahead. Yep, we can hear you all right.
Yeah, so I'm Sean. I'm part of the Space Bean Hunters. Same team as Craig. We've got 4 programmers and a science and math student from working on the project with us. We are exploring all options, and if you've got a skill set that you might think would be interesting to us, feel free to join us or drop us a message. And that's all I got to say.
Great. That's great, Sean. Okay, so Space Bean Hunters is looking for a programmer, that means, and anyone who is a solo programmer, you can approach them. Okay. What else? Who? Mahir. Mahir, are you ready for starting the pitch?
Yeah, sure. Can everyone see me and hear me?
Yeah, everything's all right. I'll
Yeah,
just
share my screen.
change. Just give me 1 minute. Let me change the spotlight.
Yeah.
I think I still have it on Craig as of now.
Cool.
Great. Yep. You can go ahead.
Am I allowed to share my screen or something?
It's up to you, honestly. It's totally up to you. Your time will start as soon as you can start.
Yeah, it says only meeting organizers and presenters can share. Even if I can't, I can just read it off rather than showing it. I
Yeah.
don't have.
Okay. I made you a presenter for now. I gave you
Oh.
that access.
Okay. Oh, sweet, sweet. Okay. One sec. She's loading. So can everyone see my screen?
Yeah. Looks great.
Yeah, sure. I'll get started then. Hey everyone, my name is Mahir and I'm a member of Team Green. I'll be doing the Unlocking the Secrets of the Sun challenge. The challenge to be addressed is, to just we're trying to support the understanding of the sun and its impact on our lives and plans to send humans with and robotic explorers to the sun, Mars, and beyond. And our project will attempt to improve public awareness and understanding of the spacecrafts in exploring the sun and how the valuable data that these spacecrafts provide impacts the way we live, work, and play. And the idea is to create an educational website using HTML, which my teacher Sahir Sharma taught me last year. And it's going to have information on the spacecrafts. The information on spacecrafts will be conveyed through the use of informative text, images, and videos. And we hope to make the website detailed enough to be a useful learning resource, but simple enough to be accessible and entertaining enough for people of all ages and interests. Thanks for listening to our project pitch. It wasn't. I didn't have time to do an awful lot, but that gets the point across.
Not a problem, Mahir. You have 2 days now, so I hope you get your things planned, whatever you have planned in time,
Yeah,
and
sure.
you'll have ample time. If yeah, so don't worry, you'll get all the support. Let me know if you need any help. So
Perfect.
who's the next one? I think Pooja. Pooja, you're on the call, and if whenever you're ready, you can start pitching. Let me see if Pooja is on the call.
Hi,
Yeah,
Sahir.
great.
I have not prepared the pitch. Maybe other people can continue.
No
I'll be
problem, Pooja.
starting.
It's just basically a 30 minute 30 seconds time. It's so Mahir, I think Mahir, you have intimidated the rest of the participants. You got a presentation. Like pitches normal pitches a 30-second or a 45-second small call out or a short shout out that okay, I have decided a challenge. I have approached. This is my approach, but I am looking for some teammates. So that's the first step, and then we'll be putting you into breakout rooms so that you can no problem, Mahir, that's totally fine. You're over prepared maybe, but like I think the others get an idea that what a pitch is by now, so it is fine, it is totally fine. I thought this was the demo that we need to make, either slides or a video demo. No, that's totally fine. Like it's going to happen day after tomorrow in front of the actual judges. That's what is going to happen. I hope everyone is up to date with the timeline. Yeah, anyone else, please inform us here, and you can go ahead if you want to pitch anything. You can like don't feel that you will be judged over anything. It's just that you can get your point across, and you can actually get the good skilled teammates you can get like very fast. So if you can pitch, your pitch will be made available online to public, and so that people who are there in other locations can also join in. And we will be posting on the Find a Team chat, which I showed you already. And this Find a Team chat is the participant chat which we have. So we will be posting whoever needs particular teammates. We will posting it over here in this channel, which is Find a Team, and we'll try to get you the required teammates. But yes, definitely, you need to pitch first, and once you pitch, things get better. Okay, let's get back to the retro board. Have you asked any questions? So someone asked us what is a pitch, and the answer someone answered it. It's where you play hurling. So yes, to be honest, you play hurling on a hitch. Yes, on a pitch. Yes, that's true. But yes, questions for Spaces. What is an app? I think people, you need to start asking genuine questions. And another thing to inform right now is you need to form up your teams. So whoever has registered, you need to form up your teams. We have some teams. We have almost 6 teams who have registered. But whoever is there on this call and has not set up their teams, please set up your teams, and then people can join in your teams anytime. Okay, what else? Let's start with the breakout sessions. If there are no pitches, we can start with the breakout sessions. In the breakout sessions, I'll quickly tell you what the breakout sessions are all about, so that you know, and we'll be following that plan. So we've discussed the pitch fest, which is the approach, the business case, and channelizing the whole like the whole approach and the business case into 45 seconds. So this is what people will be pitching and delivering in the end. Okay, Pooja is looking for a team. I think Sean, you can get in touch with her if you're looking for something like that. And then speed breakout sessions are what we're going to start now. So we'll start speed breakout sessions. In a speed breakout session, you need to do networking, right? So it will be all about networking. You will be put into a call with two random people, and you might be discussing your approach, your challenges, and your ideas, or you might be brainstorming and seeing if you want to team up together, or if you already have individual teams, if you have your own teams, then you can talk about your project maybe, and see if they know someone who's looking for a team, or if they can join in. So it's all about networking. If you're specifically looking out for teams, you can talk to them, talk to people about a specific vacancy in your team. If you have a skill which you might be able to bring to a team, then you are someone who can tell a specific person that okay, if you have a team, I can join a team. This is a skill which I have. So I'll be putting every one of you now in a breakout room session, and it will be a timed room. We'll be breaking out this room for 2 minutes. So 2 minutes, uh, or maybe yeah, 2 minutes. We'll be breaking out, and you'll be getting to talk to someone random in this meeting. And what you need to do is, yes, Soha, if you have a team, you can leave. But breakout rooms are a really good tool where you can network with other participants, and that could give you a lot of information. But yes, if you have a team, if you have fixed a team, then you can leave this meeting. Yes. Speed breakout rooms. This is what is going to happen right now. I'll be shifting everyone into a breakout room now. And meanwhile, I just want everyone to understand one more thing. So I think I don't have my content shared. That's why this is happening. So the speed breakout room is all about pitching your idea and networking. And let's see how can I set up the breakout room now. So I'm going to create about 7 rooms, and we'll be broken up into different people. So different people will be joining it randomly. So this is purely automatic. So we might have 2 to 3 people in each room, and now we are starting the rooms. So what you need to talk about throughout the duration of the room is basically keeping a track of your tasks, and basically this. So you might be posting some things over here, right? You might be posting some things over here, or some challenges which you might need to discuss. If you have some questions after discussing, you can post it over here. And can we gain access to the slides to review some slides about problem statement? Yes, we will be given the slides after this presentation around 8:30 or 8 p.m. You will be given all the slides. So you will be mailed all the slides. Yes. Okay. So think about these questions: networking, team building, challenges, resources, and specifically this event. What are you excited about? And we'll now break out into those rooms. So I'll be visiting these rooms, and now you'll be starting to leave the meeting. Some rooms might open up. Okay, so I think the breakout session was successful, and then most of the people have been have now a team, and there are some people who don't have a team. So whoever is missing with the team, can you please point out to the chat right now? Who has like there's no complete team with in their projects. Either they have vacancies or they don't have a team at all. They're skilled people who can be allocated to particular teams upon interest, obviously. Okay, Anupriya, you don't have a team?
So Sahir, I'm so sorry. I just joined in a little late. So you're talking about this people who are allocated to the breakout room. Are they a team?
No, no. So breakout rooms were very random. We just wanted to do these breakout rooms just so everyone can get acquainted with each other, maybe meet someone random so that they can make a team. So breakout rooms was just to in like start making the teams. That was the main concept. But yeah, like if you do you have a team, Anupriya?
No, I don't have Sahir.
Okay. And okay, so this means if you do not have a team, there are two approaches for you. Either you can choose a particular challenge yourself. If you're interested in a particular challenge, think about something which you might be motivated about, and then set up that challenge on your portal on the website as a particular project. Once you've done that, then we can actually look out for teammates for you, whoever is missing in your team. So we then people can add on and join your team once that team is set up. So that's one approach. The second is if you are skilled in a particular thing, if you're skilled in a particular domain, then you can tell me that okay, this is my skill, and we will be helping that particular skill to get into a project where that skill is needed. So that's the main thing which, yeah, that I hope that's clear.
Yeah,
If
yeah, pretty
Yeah, so
clear.
if you want, yeah, you can like, just because we have less people right now on this meeting, you can feel free and tell me what sort of help you want from us in terms of specific skills if you're looking for, or yeah, any challenge if you want any explanation on.
Okay, maybe like since you told regarding the challenge, maybe I'll try to look into the challenge and then maybe collect a team. So if that doesn't work, maybe I can get back to you on how to form a team.
Great, great. No, great. And just let us know because we are there to help you. So let us know because the time is already started. The only thing which I want to say next to whoever is remaining on the call is that let me share my screen first. The boot camp. Yeah, please keep a track of your tasks, whatever tasks are there. Maybe some are ongoing, some are in progress, or some are just open. Some are yet to be completed, or some are just already completed. So keep a track of your tasks throughout the 2 days because these projects seem to go very haphazard, and once they start going haphazard, there might be a case there where we might be facing some problems, like just going random, and let's see what else. So this is one thing which I wanted to mention again. Everyone will get a mail regarding this. Tomorrow we'll have a meeting at 7 p.m. in the evening, and just for 15 minutes. That would just be there for keeping everyone updated in terms of rules, keeping everyone updated in terms of the deadlines which are there. Let me see. Breakout rooms. All rooms are closed. Okay. So some people have joined in now late. I'll just explain that this is where we break off now. The last thing which I just want to tell you is uh, keep us updated. We have a technical support channel Okay, if you click the link on over here, tech support Limerick, there is a channel. Anyone who's facing any sort of technical issues, you can talk to us. We have data scientists working with us. We have game designers working with us. These are on our teams, and they can help you out. Besides this, 10 a.m. mentor slots open. This is something again which I'm very persistent about. I'm not sure if Space Apps Ireland has the correct mentor updated, but definitely we'll have the mentors soon. We'll have the mentors soon uploaded on the website. These mentors will have some slots, and these mentors are subject matter experts. Again, mentioning someone who's a designer for Google. He has worked as a designer for Microsoft, for Geo, for many of these companies. Then someone who's a data scientist who has his own company, a founder data scientist who has his own company, a startup, and that startup is very successful. So then we have professors coming in. My head of department for University of Limerick, who's Professor Mike Henchy. These people are there; they can help you out, and we have these judges who will be credible. So the day's two schedule is just 7 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. That's the only advised schedule. That's the meeting schedule, and other than that, 10 a.m. Mentor slots open up. These mentors will be given time throughout the day, and upon a specific mentor, upon his or her own schedule, you will be given a chance to book a 10-minute or a 15-minute slot with this mentor. These are people who are founders of companies or maybe lecturers or professors of different institutes. So you can definitely gain a lot from them in terms of feedback of your project. So 15-minute slot, and everyone will be getting that access, and you can schedule it yourself using the website, and we'll be sending out the instructions soon regarding that. So that's the last part which I wanted to discuss, and yeah, that's basically it for today. And yeah, so that's basically it for today. We've almost reached the end of this meeting, so almost 8 p.m. We'll wrap it up by 8 p.m. And by now, I hope everyone has Teams. Uh, Again, a last reminder for all the participants to keep hacking. Keep hacking, because a hackathon is a marathon of hacking problems. It is not about coding, or it is not about hacking or cybersecurity. It is about hacking your problems. So make a problem statement, define a problem statement, break down those problems, and make a solution, solve your problems. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for attending this session. If you have any doubts, please feel free to reach out to us on any of our channels, or on any of our contact resources, contact pages, and we'll be there to help you out. And again, thanks a lot. This recording would be uploaded for you to view, and we will be sending you a link for this recording very soon. And again, thanks a lot for attending. uh, Keep hacking. See you tomorrow.